success is simple. It's very simple. You do not have to reinvent the wheel.
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? To get the answers, we interview the top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Elite Agent Secrets show. Today we've got Shana Edwards with us. She is in the top 1% of her brokerage. Out of 400 agents, she did 15.8 million just herself last year in 2021. And she's also a real estate coach. She's got a super small team of a buyer's agent, a transaction coordinator, and a full-time admin. And Shana is going to be breaking down her 3 top secrets to success. Shana, thank you for agreeing to come on the show with us today to share your insights into this mental world of real estate.
Thank you. We're on a wild ride right now, right? It's insanity. I think I'm at hour 40 as I'm starting this Thursday morning. Since Monday, I don't sleep, which is fine because in this business, you work when there's work and we don't know when the bottom is going to fall out.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's that saying, is like, ride this bitch until the wheels fall off.
Exactly. I mean, if my phone's ringing, yeah, I'm going to just keep answering it and just keep scheduling appointments and just plowing through. I run on SaaS and caffeine. It's fine. I'm fine.
I love it. ABC, always be closing, right? Always be closing, always be connecting. Always. You know, you got to strike when the iron's hot. I love it. But take us back to day one. Give our listeners a little bit of context of how you went from zero to hero, doing over 15.8 million a year now. Because I'm sure it didn't start out like that, did it?
No. I was actually running a urologic oncology office in upstate New York. And the surgeon that I had worked for was not, I don't know what happened to him. It's like one day he turned into like a monster, like just mean. Didn't care, no patient care. He threatened me and I told him where he could shove his job. And I literally walked down the hall in a blaze of middle fingers. And I called my husband from the parking lot and I said, I just quit my job. We just put my son in a private school. And I said, I don't know what we're going to do. And he said, babe, you always wanted to do real estate. You were made for this. Go do it. So that was October of 2013. In January of 2014, I was licensed and started at my first brokerage.
Wow.
So you've been in the industry just under a decade now, hair under a decade. So walk us through from that blaze of middle fingers out the office. What was your first couple of years like with regards like deals and, you know, give us kind of a quick synopsis of the last nearly a decade.
Sure. My first brokerage, it was more of a managerial brokerage. It was a big name brokerage. Nobody was teaching me anything. So I was kind of out there all willy nilly. I did win the Rising Star Award in that brokerage. I was the top rookie. I was the rookie of the year. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I door knocked 200 doors a week. I did 4 open houses on the weekends. I did 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And that is how I did my first 11 and a half transactions my first year in real estate. And then about 4 months into 2015, there was a sour thing that had happened. My manager didn't believe in me. I don't know why. She said I'd never make it a year in this business. She tried to take a $2.8 million commercial deal from me. So I left the brokerage. Yes, you don't mess with my money. I left the brokerage and I changed.
Especially with New Yorkers' money, right?
Please listen, I'm from upstate and I can step out of my manners very quickly, which I don't like to do. But when I worked for 4.5 months to put a deal together by myself, and then she told me, you don't know what you're doing. And we were literally getting ready to close. She was trying to take the deal from me. So out of a $56,000 commission, she blessed me with $7,000. So that was it for me. So I left.
I'll be livid.
Yeah, no, you don't, please. I work too hard. I'm a hard worker. I am a hustler. I grind. That is what I do. That gives me energy. I love that part of what we do is just that I just love going. Go is my favorite speed. So I came to the brokerage that I'm in right now, and I tripled my business, or I doubled my business the first 90 days I walked through the door. I took all the trainings that they had. I sat down one-on-one with every single top producing agent in this brokerage and said, what do you do? How do you do it? What's a system? I don't know what a system is. I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea what a 36 touch was, or a follow-up plan, or what's an SOI. I had no idea. So how I managed to do what I did my first year, legitimately uneducated, is based just on hustle. So coming in here, being educated, and having the opportunity to talk to all the amazing top agents. That following year, I did $4 million in business. Then I did 8 million, and then I did 15.8.
So this was like an elevator all the way up really, really quickly, but it was backed by a whole lot of work.
Yeah, I didn't.
Right? Like you came in and you were very intentional. I think, Andrew and I, when we talk to agents, one of the things that you said is, I didn't know what an SOI was. I didn't know what a 30-point touch point plan was. By the way, I don't know what that is. So you got to share with us. Right? But you sat down and you interviewed also the top agents, that's where all the information was. So you have a really good environment or culture from what you're saying, is because they were willing to give you that information, or just not knowing that you were actually going to implement it. Because we both know, all of us know, that there's so much information out there. 99% of people don't take the action. That's why our show is called Elite Agent Secrets, because maybe if we disguise this as secrets, people will actually use it.
It's a secret. The most important thing that I learned in my second full year of real estate, being where I am right now, was success is simple. It's very simple. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. It's just not easy. So you have to be dedicated to the activities that generate conversations. We are in a relationship-based business. And if you sell houses along the way, you're doing a really great job. So relationships are first. And that is what I learned most importantly, was how to generate 80% of my business from my SOI. Just because you have your license, there is not somebody out there on the end of the road with a blowhorn screaming, Shana Edwards is your local expert. Please call her to sell your house. Nobody's out doing that. But I also didn't know. No, I really would have thought, with as important as I am, that somebody would have just randomly been out there handing out life-size cutouts of me, saying, "Here's your realtor." Like, how did that not happen for me? And that's a problem.
Cardboard cutouts.
That's a problem with a lot of newer agents, is that they don't understand that there is not a fairy godmother out there waving her magic wand, making your phone ring. You have to make it ring. You have to have connections. You have to do that. And, so many people leave orphaned connections out there in the world. And all of the open houses that I did that first year in real estate, I did 4 open houses a weekend. All of that was in a file. Wow. All that content, all those people, they were all orphaned. So when I came over here, I pulled out that stack and I called through every single one of them. I spent 3 hours a day calling through every single one of them. Then I put them under the 36 touch plan. And what that is we have a CRM at my brokerage that is built right into our system. So we put our database in, and then we go right through into marketing, and then we put them on a 36 touch. Are you a buyer? Finding out if they're a buyer seller, having those really good conversations with them. Asking questions to actually listen and not just respond is one of the most important things. So people tell you a lot if you shut your mouth. And that was one thing that it took me a long time to do that, because I like to talk. So learning to listen with my ears and not with my mouth was probably one of the most important things that I learned. And I took an amazing class, probably mid-2015, called for a certified negotiation expert. And it was literally a 3-day psychology class on how to have really good conversations with people and how to find their pain, whatever it is, whether they're in real estate, they're buying a house, selling a house, whatever it is, understanding how to hear and find their pain so that you can bring them through it and out of it and help solve their problems.
One of the questions that I instantly thought of, especially when you said 4 open houses a week, and I was thinking, fucking hell. The second point was...
hold on. The very first part was knocking on 200 doors.
I know. I've just pried myself away from that point. One of the things I think, especially a lot of our listeners would think about, because I know we've even had this conversation where it's like, you called them orphaned, which I think is quite a good analogy. And the contacts from those open houses. When you got back in touch, what was kind of the methodology there with regards, like, I know a lot of people overthink it, or you might have a certain strategy where people go, well, I'm just going to call them up and they just know I'm going to want something from them. And there isn't like that value there. It's like, hey, are you looking to buy or sell a home, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like on to the next, on to the next. Was that your strategy, or did you kind of come at it with a bit of a different taste to get that engagement and build I guess renew the relationship would be the right way to think about this?
Absolutely. So I always thought scripts were phony because I'm like, I'm not scripted, right? Like I don't have a filter. I'm not scripted. I'm not a fake person. But when I got out of that mindset and said, I'm not learning the scripts to, verbatim 100%. I'm learning the scripts on how to have a conversation and ask the right questions. So you can take the context from that. So it doesn't sound scripted, but you're getting to the questions and answers. So I learned not to ask yes and no questions. I learned to ask open-ended questions. But what I did was I had to swallow the frog. I hate making phone calls. I can stand in front of 10,000 people and command a room all day long. But if you want me to sit down and sit on that phone and sit still for 3 hours a day, I might just go run out in traffic, because that is painful for me and it is very uncomfortable for me. So I had to learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I swallowed the frog first thing in the morning. The conversations that I had and the questions that I had and how I followed up with them went sort of like this. Hi, Peter, this is Shana. We met at 123 Main Ave last year. I just was checking in with you. I know that you said your time frame was however many months. Who's writing your contracts for you? I didn't ask if you're working with an agent. I didn't ask if they wanted to buy or sell a house. Who's writing your contracts for you? No, we're not looking anymore. Or we put it on hold. Or, we bought a house last year, but it was so nice to meet you. Thank you so much. And then I write a handwritten note and just say, you know what? I'm so sorry that I lost contact with you after the open house. I'm so glad that you found the home of choice. And I put a card in there and I mail it off to them at their new address. And I put them in my database with their new address, with my notes in there. And then I put them on a marketing neighborhood nurture where once a month or once a quarter, they got an email from me that just said, this is your average price point in your neighborhood. So I never asked for anything on those phone calls.
Got it. So sending out like market reports, updates to them and just start nurturing them, which I'm not sure what people listening think, but what is it? I forget the statistics. This will be broad, but it's something like 80% of buyers forget their agent within the first year or whatever it is. And it's like 92% forget even what brokerage they bought through within like 2 years. It's some crazy high statistic. So as wild as it seems to go in touch with people, stay in touch with people that have already bought or sold, the chances of their actual agent who sold their home staying in touch is actually super small statistically. So there's actually a pool that you could pull from, which is definitely not a bad strategy. It's just not one at least someone's openly discussed as a topic or as a secret to their success on the show yet. But it's like, well, why not? Because the numbers are there. Like, I'm a data guy, engineer before all of this craziness. And so I just work off numbers. And it's like, statistically, if those numbers are, say, 80%, well, 80% of the time, you're going to get a deal. It just might take 5 years.
5 years.
Right.
And I call through my database every quarter. I became very systematic with staying in touch with my database. They get a New Year's card. For Valentine's Day, I do really fun things. Like I do a card with this individual bag of popcorn. It says, "You make my heart pop. Thank you so much for being my valued client and all of your referrals. I wouldn't be able to do this without you." In March, I send out a scratch off for St. Patrick's Day. April 1st, I send out a nice little spring card with a packet of wildflowered seeds. Right. May, I send out Memorial Day. June, I send out schools out. So every month they're getting something of content from me in the mail, and they are all on a neighborhood nurture. So I get, and every single person that bought one of my listings also go in my database and get everything. So I actually get calls because 80% of people forgot who their agents were because I sold the house. They call me and say, we bought the house that you had listed 3 years ago. We'd like to have a conversation with you about selling it.
Interesting you say that, because obviously, you're nurturing the relationship. It doesn't matter whether it was your lead or not. It can become your lead. Just for perspective, are you hitting and sending stuff to your database every month to every single person?
I am sending every deal that closed with me. So as soon as we close a deal, if somebody's relocating to Georgia, we get their updated address and it goes to Georgia. So they'll remember to tell their family about me back here.
Understood. So you're not hitting like thousands of people. You're not sending out thousands of things. That's where I'm getting at, right? Because I want to make that distinction, because I started thinking, I'm like, holy crap, you must have an amazingly big marketing budget, because it's like to hit that many people. And the second part is like, logistically, how the hell are you even doing that?
I thought Shana was single-handedly making the wildflower rainforest all over America. Like, I was like, holy shit, thousands of people are planting wildflowers everywhere.
I have something that it's a really great Google spreadsheet, and it's called a Mindshare calendar. So there's 20 items every single month that my admin knows that so for next month, on April 1st, she sends me an email and says, update, this is what needs to happen, so that we can put it into fruition and action. And by week 3 of April, it's ready for May. So I have a Mindshare calendar that I had created to make sure that I stay top of mind with my community, with my clients that bought and sold a house with me. So we send out probably, most of my business was, they sold a house and then they bought a house, and then they sold that house and bought another house. So, I'm on my a lot of these people I'm on my third transaction with this year. So I want to say less than 1,000, I think we're sending out a month. Like, actually,
it's still
a lot. Yes. And, when I buy everything in bulk, so when I'm buying my flowers, I know I'm going to send them out to 1,000 people. So I go find the best deal possible for 1,000 wildflower seed packets, and they're all different kinds. And it may cost me $250, right? Then I make, 1,000 of the postcards, and I make sure that I save all my Staples coupons and, today only. And then I'll start ordering that as, if I know that today only I can save an additional 25%. I'm going to order May, June, July, August. I'm going to order them all at 25% off. And the more you order, the less it costs per card. So I kind of do that quarterly. And I do that that's pretty much the way that I do it. I just become very smart with how I'm allocating my money. So that
that makes sense. Also, logistically, that makes it a little bit easier for you, right? So from a cost effectiveness, from a time effectiveness, and then also logistically, probably when you first started out, it used to be a nightmare. But now that you're in the flow, you guys have a system and it's processed. It's systemized to the point where it's like, okay, third week, this is what we need. Bang, this is what needs to go out. You drop it off at the post office. Here's how to package it all up. I think you're one of the only people that we know that actually sends something out as frequently as you do, because you send out something monthly. Most people just say quarterly. Some people say semi-annually, and some are just annually, and that's huge. But you're monthly, so
it's physical as well, which from a psychological basis, will really keep you even more top of mind. Like it's way more impactful than an email. Right, an email's cool for market data. We've heard some amazing strategies. The one I always think of is Jim's CMA report. This guy is super smart. One of the top agents in the whole country. I forget what number he is, but one of the things he does is he sends out a thick CMA market report, and it costs him about $2 each. And he sends them out in streets, and he's done this over been doing it nearly 30 years. And now he gets hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of listings, all from these. And he's literally, people will call me. They'll be like, oh, I kept your market report. It was so good from 3 years ago. They've kept it. And it's because it was this big, chunky document. And it's because physical things people hold on to. We're all fucking hoarders, let's not lie. I mean, most people hoard shit. And like the wildflower seeds, all the other stuff, it's all getting either put in a jar or used. And I tell you what, if it gets used and they see those wildflowers, you are definitely cemented. Like if they use it and they see them every day in their lawn and they're like, those flowers came from Shana, like that's it. Like every day, it's that reinforcement. It's like, if we're going to sell, and it's like, well,
we're calling her.
Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in gaining access to our courses and coaching 100% free, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.